Well, hey everyone. So I realized that I made a mistake or two in my June wrap up. So I'm going to redo that. But right now I am here to talk about the books that I read in July. One of them I put for June. So, on to the books I read in July. The first book that I finished, which was accidentally put on my other one because it was the first book that I had finished, was Volume 1 of Inuyasha. I have seen many of the episodes, so I figured why not pick up the manga. I enjoyed the show. I haven't seen all of it, as I, just mentioned, but I really did enjoy the characters and everything, so I figured, why not? Let's pick up the manga. I would say, just based off the first manga, again, first time reading it, so I can't say for all of it, but the first manga and the first episode syncs up pretty well. There's not much difference at all, so it's fairly faithful to its source material. And I'm hoping that that's going to be for all the volumes. I'll probably read all of it and then get back to watching it to see, if it keeps up that way. There's, very little that's changed, and whatever has changed might be some wording, really. It really is the book. And if you don't know what Inuyasha is about, it takes place in Japan. It is about a girl named Kagome that falls down like this old well. I think it was like dried out or whatever, but basically I think it was supposed to be a well. And she kind of falls into like the past, like another dimension. It's the feudal era of Japan, where she kind of gets tangled up with this person that's half dog demon and half human. She finds him pinned to the tree, and she takes out the enchanted arrow that was keeping him there. Long story short, she ends up destroying this jewel that he was originally trying to steal to make himself full demon. She shoots it, pieces go everywhere, and so the story continues on with her having to find these jewel shards. I'm hoping in the second volume we'll get to more characters, because it doesn't take very long in the anime for you to start like meeting all the characters and everything. And there's characters I really enjoyed, so hopefully on the next one we'll get to see some of those. I'm hoping that they're in the manga, because some of them were really fun characters. But yeah, it was a really really good first book into a series, so I definitely will be continuing. I think I'm gonna like it as much as I did the show. The next was a children's book actually published by the Satanic Temple, and that is Goodnight Baphomet. It's basically just a cute book about boundaries and love, and love for yourself. Pretty good morals, honestly, in my opinion. The next one that I read was Fairy Tail Volume 3. This one just didn't keep my attention as much as the first two. I felt it was just kind of all over the place with the fighting and everything. But maybe this was a book that I wasn't supposed to read while I was busy, or, didn't have the time to give my full attention to it. I did like the first two, as I said, and I started watching the manga some time ago, but never finished it. It's another one like Inuyasha, where I was liking the characters. And I will be continuing. It's just, I don't know, it just felt kind of like it was all over the place. The next book I read was Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. So this one is more of a, I guess, adult, contemporary, slice of life, real life kind of, whatever you want to call those books that are, based in reality. There's so many names for them. So this is a story about a woman named Eleanor. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe the story takes place in Scotland. So this woman named Eleanor, she is an interesting character. She very much has a way of doing things, a set way of ideas. So basically the story revolves around basically Eleanor making this friend from work, if I remember correctly. He's a friend from work, and their relationship, as friends, about, how she kind of navigates the world. There is this secret that she has, or secrets that she does have. She's, even to, the reader, she's very, I don't know if secretive is the word, but she doesn't seem very trusting. She's very set in her ways, and you can tell it is a way to keep herself safe. There are things that, she is not acknowledging, that she's not ready to acknowledge. She's trying to push herself in some ways, and then some other people try to kind of push her. And sometimes she's understandable, relatable. Other times she's a little bit annoying, but I could see part of myself in her. And I can see how I can be annoying with things, especially, when you're, you just don't understand why things just can't happen certain ways, and then you get frustrated. And reading certain parts, like where she didn't want to give the barista her name, I've never had that problem, but I can see why people wouldn't want to, but I felt like maybe she made too much of a big fuss about it. But, she has her reasons. And, when you have certain things happen to you, or trying to process things in your own way, sometimes you can't see what people on the outside see. To maybe other people, you come off as maybe rude or ridiculous, and I could see that as the reader, about why people would find certain things that Eleanor did maybe frustrating. But then again, I can see myself doing some of these things. So she's a very relatable character. I was reading where the author said that she didn't want to make Eleanor a victim, because there are things that come up about, like, her mother and certain things, and, how she was treated growing up, and, kind of how she views this and views that. And, she said that she didn't want to make Eleanor a victim. And she's not. She's an independent person, but you can see that she has growth to do. She has issues to overcome. And I think that's why people like this book. I mean, obviously there's varying opinions. Some people didn't like it, like any other book, but I think the people that did like Eleanor, because she is frustrating at times, because she can be ridiculous, because she's understandable at times. She's just written as a human character, and I really enjoyed that. I read Then He Ate My Boy Entrancers, which is, I don't know, maybe the 6th book in the Georgia Nicholson series. Like, I started this series when I was a teenager, so obviously I view it differently than I did when I was like 15. And yeah, I don't know, Georgia can be annoying sometimes, but again, she's like a 15-year-old girl. So the problem with like books like this is that the title of the book doesn't become significant to like a small portion after most of the plot is done. A good chunk was her family taking vacation in the United States because the books normally take place in England. And so her family goes to the US on vacation. I don't want to say I'm offended by stereotypes because, again, this is like a book written for teenage girls. Not that books written for teenage girls can't be intelligent, because some of my favorite books are YA books, but it's basically a light-hearted, fun type series, right? But I don't know. I felt like there were better places maybe in America to go than just restaurants and stuff. You know, we have actual like historical sites and landmarks and stuff like that, and different cultures to learn from. I don't know. I personally wouldn't go on vacation just to go to regular restaurants and stuff. But that's just me. It just felt kind of lacking. But, I mean, the book was okay. I've liked some of the other books better in that series. But it's one of those where I can't really remember which book is which because the same things kind of happen. It's kind of like with Pretty Little Liars or even Phoebe and Her Unicorn, and I love Phoebe and Her Unicorn, but, you know, obviously some things are kind of maybe repeated in some ways and whatnot, but, you know, it was still enjoyable. I read The One and Only Bob, which is a sequel to The One and Only Ivan, and this is told from the point of view of Bob, the dog, who is Ivan's friend. Ivan and Ruby are now living at a zoo, or like, you know, this animal habitat, you know, a proper place for them. And most of it is just Bob talking about life in general and stuff. And I like the character of Bob. You know, I thought he was a very cute character. I like listening to his little doggy thoughts and everything. The plot doesn't pick up until maybe halfway in the book, like what's described on the back, the synopsis. It involves like a hurricane and Bob finding his long lost sister. It's a very cute story. I think if you enjoyed The One and Only Ivan, you will enjoy The One and Only Bob. Like I said, they're very cute characters. Many times they bring up good points. I definitely say if you're open to, you know, middle grade novels, or you want, you know, something maybe for your children, especially ones that enjoy animal stories, definitely go for this one. And then finally, I read another Goosebumps Most Wanted. I read How I Met My Monster. Now, this is the second Most Wanted book that I read, and I don't know if it's all of these books, like all of the Most Wanted series, but it just feels like the author is just reusing the twists and stuff that he had used in the original series. And I loved the twist in the original Goosebumps series. I thought they were very well done for middle grade novels. But after reading Planet of the Lawn Gnomes, I was disappointed that, again, the twist just keeps getting reused. This one was a little bit better than Planet of the Lawn Gnomes, I thought, because that one, while fun, was just kind of overly ridiculous. But, whereas this one wasn't too bad. This one is about a boy who lives in an apartment complex, and if I remember correctly, he's been having nightmares about this monster, and then this kid moves in, and weird stuff happens, and he suspects the new kid to be a monster, and there's a bully. Pretty standard Goosebumps stuff, but again, I enjoyed the book up until the ending. And maybe you can guess what the ending was. I don't know. Anyways, that is my July wrap-up. I didn't read a whole lot because there's still books I'm reading from July. But I did enjoy the books that I read. Let me know if you've read anything that I talked about in this video. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.